There are two David Lynches. One created the most surreal films in cinema history. The other lived a life so bizarre, it makes those films look normal. Today, we're meeting the second Lynch, a man whose real-life stories rival the strangest scenes in his best movies. And the first in line is Weird Lynch Fact 1: The Curious Case of the Woody Woodpecker Dolls. In a 2017 interview with the UK Telegraph, David Lynch recounted a peculiar episode from 1981 when he rescued 5 Woody Woodpecker dolls from a petrol station. "I screech on the brakes, I do a U-turn, go back, and I buy them. I save their lives," Lynch recalled. He named the dolls Chucko, Buster, Pete, Bob, and Dan, referring to them as "my boys," and describing their presence in his office as comforting companions. The Woody Woodpecker dolls even made an appearance in Lynch's work. During the creation of an Eraserhead trailer for the New Art Theater in Los Angeles in 1982, Lynch shared their existential musings. "These guys aren't just a bunch of goofballs. They know that there is plenty of suffering in the world. They spent many years with little iron hooks in their backs up on Sunset Boulevard. But they tell me that there's this all-pervading happiness underneath everything, and the more time I spend with them, the more I believe it." However, as time passed, their relationship took a darker turn. "They were my dear friends for a while, but certain traits started coming out, and they became not so nice," Lynch explained, with a touch of sadness. "They are not in my life anymore." As whimsical as the Woody dolls may seem, they coexisted with a much darker side to Lynch's inspirations, revealed in Weird Lynch Fact 2: Dark Fascinations and Early Influences. During his youth, Lynch developed an unusual fascination with decay and death that would later influence his artistic vision. While still in high school, he began studying dead animals he would find, much to his parents' concern. This interest deepened during his college years, when he would visit a friend who worked as a pathologist, observing autopsies and medical procedures. This morbid curiosity directly influenced his first feature film, Eraserhead. The film's famous baby prop has been the subject of much speculation, with Lynch steadfastly refusing to reveal how it was created, though many believe it was made using organic materials. In the documentary, David Lynch: The Art Life, Lynch openly discusses how he would collect dead animals found on roadsides, seeing them as artistic inspiration. He recalls showing his collection to his father, whose horrified reaction only reinforced Lynch's understanding that he saw beauty in places others couldn't comprehend. These early experiences significantly shaped his artistic sensibilities, though this particular fascination faded after meeting his first wife, Peggy Reavey. Peggy Reavey, whom Lynch pushed to repeat the alphabet until she vomited blood, in Weird Lynch Fact 3: The Alphabet, An Educated Nightmare. In 1968, Lynch created one of his most disturbing early works, The Alphabet, inspired by a truly unsettling event: his then-wife Peggy's niece having a nightmare about the alphabet. The 4-minute film combines live action and animation, starring Peggy herself in the lead role. The film presents a nightmarish version of childhood education, showing a young woman, Peggy, lying in bed while being tormented by letters of the alphabet. The soundtrack features a disturbing mixture of a child's sing-song recitation of the alphabet, heavy breathing, and screaming. The film culminates in a horrifying sequence where the woman vomits blood onto her white bedsheets. Lynch shot this shocking scene using milk to create the effect, and Peggy later recalled feeling genuinely terrified during filming, despite being married to the director. The film cost $1,000 to make, funded by Lynch's supportive father-in-law, and helped Lynch secure a grant from the American Film Institute. It would later enable him to begin work on Eraserhead. The Alphabet was a giant step ahead for the young director, and no less disturbing than his previous debut work, 6 Men Getting Sick, 6 Times, created while he studied at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. This 1-minute animated loop, projected onto a screen with 3-dimensional faces, depicted heads becoming nauseated, catching fire, and vomiting, accompanied by a wailing siren. Made for $200, it earned Lynch an Academy Award and marked his move into moving paintings. Many critics dismissed it as merely shocking, with one quipping, "The only plus of this masterpiece is that the 6 men only puke 6 times." The unsettling focus on vomiting in Lynch's earlier films hinted at his lifelong obsession with food and digestion, an obsession that extended into his real life, as revealed in Weird Lynch Fact 4: Lynch's Peculiar Eating Habits. Throughout the 1970s, David Lynch maintained one of his most unusual routines, eating at Bob's Big Boy restaurant in Los Angeles at exactly 2:30 p.m. every day for 7 years straight. His order never varied: a chocolate milkshake and multiple cups of coffee, both loaded with sugar. In a notable interview with The New York Times, Lynch revealed how this ritual fueled his creativity. "I would drink chocolate milkshakes and 4, 5, 6, 7 cups of coffee with lots of sugar. The sugar rush would give me so many ideas, and I'd write them down on napkins." The restaurant became his unofficial office, where he developed numerous concepts for his projects. His strict eating patterns extended to film sets, where crew members observed him eating the exact same meal at the same time every day throughout entire productions. Lynch later reflected on this habit. "I had to treat my stomach with respect, and to make it easier on myself, I called it my hobby. But what I couldn't give up was sugar. Without it, no ideas would come." During the filming of Twin Peaks, Lynch invited Kyle MacLachlan and Laura Dern for dinner at Bob's Big Boy, where he meticulously prepared and served a unique combination of foods designed to heighten their senses and spark inspiration. This dinner became legendary among the cast and crew, and further showcased Lynch's eccentric approach to creativity. MacLachlan later recounted the experience. "It was like being part of a Lynchian film, surreal and strangely inspiring." That infamous dinner became a powder keg of emotions, setting the stage for the tangled relationships explored in Weird Lynch Fact 5: Twin Peaks, Lynch-Kyle-Dern Love Triangle. One of the most bizarre episodes in Lynch's personal life involved a complex dynamic between him, Laura Dern, and Kyle MacLachlan, a real-life twist that could have been lifted straight from a Twin Peaks script. After his second marriage to Mary Fisk ended in 1987, Lynch began a romantic relationship with Dern, who had already become one of his muses in Blue Velvet and Wild at Heart. But the story took a dramatic turn when Dern grew closer to MacLachlan, Lynch's frequent collaborator and on-screen alter ego. Surprisingly, the tangled relationships didn't lead to tension on set. Lynch's ability to compartmentalize kept the professional atmosphere intact, with Dern and MacLachlan both continuing to feature prominently in his work. Dern went on to star in Inland Empire and Twin Peaks: The Return, while MacLachlan maintained his iconic status as Agent Dale Cooper. Behind the scenes, their intricate personal dynamic only deepened Lynch's creative vision, proving that his art and life were always inextricably linked. Lynch's unorthodox take on love often led to turbulence, affecting not only his marriages, but also his role as a father, as revealed in Weird Lynch Fact 6: A Troubled Family Life. Despite his gentle public persona, Lynch has been remarkably candid about his struggles with fatherhood and marriage. In a 2018 interview with The Guardian, he admitted, "You have to be selfish. And it's a terrible thing. I never really wanted to be a father, never really wanted to be married." This philosophy manifested dramatically in his first marriage to Peggy Reavey. When their daughter Jennifer was born with severe leg problems that caused her constant pain, Lynch left the family when Jennifer was just 6 years old, unable to cope with her suffering. Jennifer Lynch later became a director herself, creating works like Boxing Helena and Friday the 13th series. Peggy later revealed that their marriage likely wouldn't have happened if she hadn't been pregnant, stating, "Living with David Lynch is hard work. Eraserhead erased me from life." Similar sentiments were echoed by Lynch's other wives, painting a picture of a man deeply devoted to his craft, but often distant from his loved ones. Perhaps this emotional distance stems from Lynch's own childhood traumas and formative experiences, one of which unfolds in Weird Lynch Fact 7, A Haunting Childhood Memory. David Lynch's childhood was largely normal and free of trauma, but a particular event left a lasting impact on him. While walking home from school with his brother in their suburban neighborhood, they encountered a naked woman with a bloodied mouth wandering in a daze. Lynch has described how the woman's white naked body appeared almost green against the grass, and how her expressionless face deeply disturbed him. This traumatic childhood experience not only influenced Blue Velvet, but can be seen reflected in several of his works, where seemingly idyllic suburban settings are disrupted by disturbing incidents. But Lynch's inner horrors didn't just stay in his head. They spilled out into the world through his creative output, like in Weird Lynch Fact 8, The Angriest Dog in the World. From 1983 to 1992, David Lynch published a 5-panel comic strip called The Angriest Dog in the World, in various alternative newspapers and magazines like LA Reader, Creative Loafing, and New York Press. The comic featured the same unchanging image in all 4 panels, a black dog straining against its chain in a yard, with the introduction always reading, "The dog who is so angry he cannot move. He cannot eat. He cannot sleep. He can just barely growl. Bound so tightly with tension and anger, he approaches the state of rigor mortis." Only the dialogue bubbles coming from the house in the background would change weekly, featuring absurdist, philosophical, or darkly humorous statements. Some captions included existential musings like, "If everything is real, nothing is real," or mundane observations turned surreal, like, "The refrigerator has been humming a lot lately." Lynch maintained this rigid format for nearly a decade, creating a uniquely minimalist approach to comic storytelling, where the tension between the static image and varying text created an unsettling, yet oddly humorous effect. The strip's unchanging nature reflected Lynch's interest in repetition and persistent darkness, themes that appear throughout his filmography. To calm the chaos within, Lynch turned to a practice that became a cornerstone of his life. Explored in Weird Lynch Fact 9, A Lifelong Commitment to Transcendental Meditation. Lynch began practicing Transcendental Meditation, TM, created by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in the early 1970s while working on his first feature film, Eraserhead. According to Lynch, TM saved him from emotional exhaustion and became a regular practice in his life. He described it as a way of diving into an ocean of pure consciousness, where his ideas were born. In 2005, Lynch founded the David Lynch Foundation to promote TM among schoolchildren, veterans, people with PTSD, and prisoners, believing that meditation could transform society, bring peace, and unlock everyone's creative potential. He shares his personal experiences with TM in his book, Catching the Big Fish: Meditation, Consciousness, and Creativity, describing the technique as a method of revealing one's inner potential and combating negativity. With inner peace achieved, Lynch found new and unexpected ways to connect with audiences, like in Weird Lynch Fact 10, A Surreal Weather Reporter. During the COVID-19 pandemic, David Lynch revived his unique take on weather reporting through YouTube. Starting in May 2020, he began posting daily videos from his workshop in Los Angeles, delivering weather reports in his characteristic style. Each morning, typically dressed in a dark button-up shirt, Lynch would look out his window and describe the day's weather with his trademark optimism, often emphasizing sunny and clear skies. These reports became beloved by fans for their surreal consistency. Lynch would often deliver similar descriptions regardless of the actual weather, sometimes adding brief musings about his coffee or work plans. His reports demonstrated his ability to turn the mundane act of describing weather into something distinctly Lynchian. His signature phrases, "Keep your eye on the donut," and not on the whole. "It's a beautiful day with golden sunshine and blue skies all the way" became more than just a weather update. It was his philosophy distilled into a daily ritual. When these same words appeared in the Lynch family's final farewell on the day of his passing, they transformed from weather report to final testament. A reminder that in Lynch's world, even the darkest clouds carried their own strange and beautiful light. Conclusion. David Lynch reminds us that the line between art and life is often blurred. A blur that, in his world, becomes a portal to something both strange and beautiful. Which of these bizarre facts about Lynch surprised or fascinated you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the surreal world of cinema.